Greetings, fellow trekkers and trekkers. And hey, guess what? It's my birthday today. Brr, brr, brr. That's right, I'm 32 today, so yeah. So anyway, our look at Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 3 now gets on with the episode Defiant. In Ops, Major Kira is having a bad day, swamped with the numerous little details of running a space station. She has problems to handle the cargo of 5 Byzantium transports, gets information about the change schedule of the Byzillion Conference, and is informed about a Starfleet requested complete report about the computer calibration subroutine until tomorrow. At the infirmary, she snaps at Dr. Bashir when he starts complaining to her about the colonization schedule at Camp R3. Realizing that she is stressed from overwork, he uses his position as Chief Medical Officer and orders her to take time off, reminding her that not even Commander Sisko can overrule his judgment. Bashir takes Kira to Quark's and tells her to enjoy herself with at least 2 things Quark serves her, including a holosuite program, a Jumja stick, Carvina juice, Lorvarn crackers, and gambling token. After resisting first, Kira starts to accept his order. But she's not alone for long as Commander Riker stands nearby the bar's entrance and asks to join her, hoping she has some room for the unexpected. In Commander Sisko's office, Riker tells Sisko he's on vacation and wanted to visit the station again before continuing on his travel to Risa. Outside the office in Ops, Lieutenant X notices that Kira is preoccupied by a certain commander, though she doesn't want to admit it. When Riker comes out of Sisko's office, Dax makes a reference to the last meeting in Quarks, which she does not remember until she reminds Riker that she staked 3 strips of platinum when his winning streak ran dry. Riker hangs around the promenade, waiting for Kira to get off duty so he can arrange to accidentally run into her. Hesitant at first, she offers him a tour of the station, and then at his suggestion, she agrees to show him the USS Defiant. Kira and Riker both enter an authorization code and handprints at the identification panel to enter the Defiant. Lieutenant Jones stands guard outside the airlock. Aboard the Defiant, they find Chief Miles O'Brien working on the bridge trying to bring the vessel's deflector targeting rays, and Riker is none too happy to see him, implying that they have had some falling out. O'Brien is stunned by Riker's cold demeanor. He has no idea what he has done to offend his former first officer, but excuses himself rather than intrude on the two of them. Kira too is surprised, but does not press when Riker says he does not want to talk about it. She shows him the modifications they made to the ship's systems, especially the weapons system. Riker asks to access them at the tactical station, and obligingly, Kira uses her authorization code Kira Delta 547 Alpha to release the bridge lockout. This is what Riker wanted, and he then stuns Kira with a phaser. While she's cautious, he arranges for Tamala and Kalita to beam aboard. A red alert sounds in Ops. His computer shows an imminent warp core breach aboard the Defiant. Riker contacts them for the Defiant bridge, saying there was an accident and Kira was injured and that they released docking clamps. He will take the helm of the Defiant and clear it away from the station. Sisko agrees and will beam them out when they are clear. O'Brien arrives, responding to the red alert. Sisko orders him to beam Kira and Riker out. O'Brien cannot because the Defiant shields are up. Before any of them can react, the Defiant goes to warp. On the Defiant, Riker has Kalita set a course for the Badlands. He removes his false sideburns. He is Lieutenant Thomas Riker. Kalita congratulates Tom on his successful commandeering of the Defiant, but he says it is not over yet. Gul Dukat is summoned to a briefing in the boardroom where Odo explains how a transporter accident created a transporter duplicate of William T. Riker on Novella 4 9 years ago. Dukat is entertained by this until they tell him that they suspect that Thomas Riker is with a Maquis, having expressed support of them while serving on the USS Gandhi. Dukat has fears that such a dangerous weapon of the Federation may not be used to attack Cardassia. Sisko proposes a joint search mission of the demilitarized zone, but Dukat's Central Command will use this incident as an excuse to eradicate the Maquis instead. Starfleet would then send a fleet to protect the colonies. War seems inevitable. Sisko agrees to go with Dukat to Cardassia Prime and help them find the Defiant, and, if necessary, destroy it. Riker apologizes to Kira for the deception, but he will not be deterred. The Defiant meets with other Maquis ships. They transfer over a crew, and they all head for the Federation Cardassian border. Sisko and Dukat arrive on Cardassia Prime, where the search will be conducted from the Cardassian War Room, the heart of the Cardassian military, where Sisko also meets the Obsidian Order observer Karinas, who secures all information from intelligence reports after noticing the human in this secured area. She asks Sisko for the exact specifications and armament of the Defiant, but Sisko stops her request. He reveals that the Defiant is equipped with the lone Romulan cloaking device. While this is news to Dukat, Karinas says that the Order already knew about it, but was hitherto unconcerned that it would be used against Cardassia. Sisko says he can provide partial specifications of an anti-proton beam that the Dominion used to penetrate the cloak. Under Maquis control, the Defiant passes the security perimeter into the Almatha sector and enters Cardassian territory. After the ship attacks Cardassian Outpost 61, Dukat orders the fleet of the Sixth Order under the command of Goltron to chase the Defiant back into the demilitarized zone. Sisko realizes that the warp signature is wrong. It is a decoy. Dukat recalls to run ships, but it is too late. The real Defiant uncloaks and destroys Outpost 47 before cloaking again. Its heading takes them into the heart of the Cardassian Union. Karinas leaves with a parting shot at Dukat. Aboard the Defiant, Riker sets the course for Omekla 3 in its shipyard. Meanwhile, Kira manages to sabotage the cloak from her quarters by crossing the replicator power converter with a plasma manifold, blowing off the two plasma conduits and suffering minor injuries to her shoulder. To maltreat Kira's injuries, Riker takes her to the bridge where they keep an eye on her. While they repair the damage she caused, they hide the Defiant in a nearby nebula. Sisko plots strategy, but Dukat is distracted. This is his son Mekor's 11th birthday, and he wanted his father to take him to an amusement center at Lakarian City. Sisko commiserates, knowing that he himself had disappointed his own son from time to time, but it is part of his and Dukat's profession, and he hopes someday his son will understand. Dukat is not encouraged, instead predicting that his son will remember this day with hatred, as the only thing he'll remember is the Federation officer on a Federation ship is invading his home and kept his father away from his birthday, something he finds sad. Kira sees that the Maquis target is the Omekla 3 shipyard. Riker tells her that they had been getting reports that there were Cardassian hardliners wanting to scrub the peace treaty. They were secretly building up an invasion fleet in the Orias system, according to an intelligence report. Kira tries to reach Riker. He's still acting more like a Starfleet officer than a terrorist. Sisko tells Dukat that the actions of the Maquis follow a plan. They made no random attacks, but are designed to leave one sector alone without any warships, the Orias system. Dukat is about to have Golranar send a ship when Karinas threatens him if he does. The system is under the Obsidian Order's protection, and they will defend it by destroying any ship which will reach the system. Dukat has checked up, and no one has been able to get any answers from the Obsidian Order regarding the Orias system, not even the Tapata Council. The crack under the command of Golranar has found a neutrino leak. The Cloak Defiant makes a run for the Orias system, but they can track them. Dukat orders all ships to pursue, but they cannot catch it. Suddenly, 3 killed-on ships appear out of the Orias system. Dukat is surprised to see this and asks Karinas who the ships belong to, because if they were part of the military, he would know about them. Dukat also mentions that the Obsidian Order is forbidden to possess any military equipment. Karinas seems unconcerned about this violation and simply smiles deviously. Meanwhile, Thomas Riker refuses to back down now, even though it's starting to look hopeless. Kira guesses that this is less about the Maquis cause than it's about distinguishing himself from Commander Riker. Sisko makes a deal with Dukat. If he will let them surrender and turn over any ship and crew to the Federation, Sisko will turn over the Defiant sensor logs, which by now contain full scans of the Orias system and whatever the Obsidian Order has been hiding. Dukat agrees only if they keep Riker to punish him for his actions. Sisko reluctantly agrees, provided that Dukat arranges for the Ministry of Justice to take the death penalty off the table. The Defiant engages the Cardassian ships. They disable the first ship's port nacelle and takes the second ship's weapons offline. Just at that moment, 3 more ships appear from the Orias system. The Defiant is outnumbered and outgunned. Riker is about to continue anyway when Sisko and Dukat contact him with their deal. He'll be sentenced for life to the Liaison 2 labor camp. Kira pleads for him to think of his crew only one more time like a Starfleet officer. Riker agrees and is told he must surrender to Golranar and the Cragson, who will protect them from the ships of the Obsidian Order. After the Cragson extends its shields and protects the Defiant, the Kilner-class starships of the Obsidian Order withdraw. True to his word, Riker transmits the sensor logs to the Cragson and then beams over. Kira promises him that he will get his crew a fair trial and they will come for him one day. Riker then moves to kiss her, then taps his comm badge and transports to the Craxon, leaving Kira in command of the Defiant. Huh, that's an interesting way to end the episode, but yeah, anyway. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. This episode introduces a fleet of Keldon-class ships secretly constructed by the Obsidian Order in the Arias system. The later third season episode Improbable Cause reveals the reason for their construction. They were to be used in a joint operation by the Obsidian Order and the Romulan Tal Shiar to launch an assault on the Fenrir's homeworld, precipitating the Battle of the Omarion Nebula. Quantum torpedoes are used for the first time by a Federation starship in this episode. The Cardassian Uni had quantum torpedo technology as early as Stardate 47582, as Cardassian ATR 4107 was equipped with these weapons, seen in the Star Trek Voyager episode Dreadnought. Thomas Riker calls the Defiant a tough little ship. William T. Riker later calls it the same thing in Star Trek First Contact. Although this episode was screened 3 days after the release of Star Trek Generations, the stardates indicate that it takes place shortly before. This makes sense, as Riker and Sisko's conversation would seem to indicate the Enterprise D is still active. Defiant marks the only appearance of William T. Riker in Deep Space Nine as he is featured on the Okudogram in the boardroom. The USS Enterprise D and Beverly Crusher are also referenced. Nice. So overall, I think this episode is pretty good, and I do like seeing Thomas Riker again, even though, yeah, his actions are a bit, not so good, so, yeah. So overall, I give Defiant 4 warp cores out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in a bit as we take a look at the next episode, Fascination. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.